Hi guys, Josh Lloyd here. Just thought I'd give a little bit of a tutorial on setting things up on Basketball Monsters, some of the stuff that we have to offer for you as well, and just some of the settings that you need to be aware of. So when you get into Basketball Monster, this is the front page that you see. The first thing you need to do is go into the settings tab up there and press league settings. There's a whole bunch of other stuff you can look at there, but league settings, the number one thing you want to do. Now I've got leagues already existing here. I've just set up a league that I'm going to be doing a mock draft for next week. So let's go and add that one. So let's push the add league button over there. All right, so then all these warnings. Make sure your league ID is set. You want your rosters to automatically update, blah, blah, blah. So where is my league being provided? Where is it being hosted? League provider. I'm hosting this one on Fantrax. So I go down here and click on Fantrax. I give it a title, Locked On Fantasy Basketball, 12 team, 8 cat. Oops, that's not how I do 8 cat roto. That's what the league's going to be called. Now I need this league ID. So if I go across to my Fantrax page, you can see it in this invite code over here. Or when you go up to the URL at the top of the screen, the code is in the URL. So it'll say fantrax.com/fantasy/league, and then a code that looks like an auto-generated password. For this one, it's like 4Q4WE60R, whatever it is. So that's the code that you need. You just copy that one, bring it back to your Basketball Monster site, paste that code in, push the Save Settings button, and then if I push import settings, everything will adjust. It'll adjust all my active roster settings, my league type, my categories that I'm using. So you'll see at the moment, turnovers is set to a category automatically as a 9-cat league. When I push this import settings, because this is going to be an 8-cat roto league, that'll get turned to off. So let's click that one and it'll import things. And you see turnovers goes off. 12 teams, 14 players per team. All my active rosters are set. It's automatically switched to roto. Lineup frequency, daily or weekly. It's set it daily, but I set it weekly, sorry, because I haven't changed it on that mock, but we'll make it daily. Automatically update rosters, yes. Allow same-day transactions, yes. Total team game limit. Now, I haven't set that up on that league either, so it hasn't come through, but we're going to have 72 games, 72 games per active position with 10 active positions, so we'll make that 720 in that spot. Quality games is how you determine what's a good day for a guy to play. Because if there's 13 games on an NBA day, anyone you add off the waiver wire, you're not going to have room to add them into your active lineup. So finding that limit. Now, Basketball wants the defaults to 5. I like to use 8 because I think if there are 8 games on, which is basically half of the teams are playing in the NBA, and if you've got a standard 10-3 or 10-4 active to bench split, you're going to be able to play everybody. Once you get to 10 games out of a maximum of 15, it gets a little bit harder, and sometimes you'll have to make bench decisions, but I find making it at 8 is the right number to do there. Start of the weekdays Monday, that's nearly always going to be the case. As I said, all this over here, league size, players per team, active roster spots, it'll all automatically get updated when you use that import settings. I'll get into the auction settings in a second. Playoff settings, like what week are you starting the playoffs? So let's say we're starting the playoffs on that week and we're ending them on that week. These are just made up numbers, but this is actually it's roto, so I don't need to do this. But if you are doing a head-to-head league, when your playoff starts, when your playoff ends, because in a usual season that would tell you how many playoff games that player has. It also cuts off the end of that season so that those projections for that end of the season don't count because you're not going to be playing. But we don't know the playoff schedule at this point because the NBA schedule's not out and the second half of the season's not going to be out, so you cannot draft for playoff schedule. You just can't do it. Now, if we go over here to the scoring system side, use categories. That is the default. That's what I'm doing, 8 categories. But you can go down and this is what Basketball Monster does. Whatever your league does, we've got that option. Turnovers, 3-point percentage, 2-point percentage, defensive rebounds, offensive rebounds, double-doubles, triple-doubles, field goals made, fouls, free throws made, free throws missed, minutes, 3s attempted, 2s attempted, assist to turnover. Look, all these different categories of points per minute, all these different categories that we've got can be used. And if you want to use a points league, you just click that button. Right, and then how many points? 1 point per point, 1 point per 3, 1.2 per rebound, 1.5 per assist. You go and add those in, whatever your scoring system is, so that all the projections, all the recommendations, all of the tools are set to your league. Now, if you are doing that import settings, these points systems will come through automatically for you. So that's my setting. And once you've drafted your team, you can go in here and turn a category to permanently punt. Like if you draft a punt assist team, you can come in here and push punt. And that will mean that when looking at your team, it'll take that into consideration, but it will also understand that the league is 8 cat, so it will give you values for the whole league in general. You can also weight categories as well. So if you want to, like I always will punt turnovers, but you say, well, no, I do want to value turnovers, but I don't want to value them that highly. You can make them a 0.5. If you feel that steals are you're increasing the value of players too much, you can make it a 0.8 or something like that. And I think that has some value. Again, in general, I just will turn turnovers off, but you can turn it to a lower weight if you prefer. So that is a way that you can adjust the value of those categories. So you always be hitting save settings when you're doing that. The auction ones is what we want to look at here, because if people will say, I'm in an auction league, Josh, and where are your auction values? Well, they're in the projections page, but you've got to set it up first. So how many dollars per team? The standard auction budget is 200. So you go in and type 200 there. But this is where the next important bit comes. The total number of $1 players for the entire league. And it gives a recommended number here. So basically, when you're in a draft, the money gets distributed towards the top and the middle, and the back end of drafts, there's a whole bunch of $1 players. Now, in terms of when we're valuing guys, those players should be worth more than $1 in terms of what they actually produce and provide to a league, but that's not how auction drafts go. So we set it so that you can set it to, and you know how your league goes. If it's a long-standing league, people will be more aggressive, you might get more. But in general, setting all of your bench slots or a number of your bench slots, maybe that's a more accurate one, to $1 is a good way to go about it, so that people spend up for their active slots and their bench comes $1. And then, because that's a common complaint, Josh, your auction settings, James Harden's going for $70 on Yahoo, but you've got him valued at $50. That's because if you don't have the $1 settings set, it'll say that a guy that's picked at $120 is worth $4, when in essence you get him for $1. So set this one up here, and as you say, it has a recommended 48 because I've got 4 bench spots across 12 teams. So that's 48 bench players across a whole league. So you can set it to 48. But if you think your league will only do 3 of their bench players for $1, you set it to 36. And that changes the auction value of all of the other players there, basically just taking all that value out of those back-end guys, making them all $1 guys, so all the money gets pushed up towards the top and towards the middle round. So that's super important if you're doing an auction draft, to set that budget there, and then most importantly, to get the values where you want them. Make it, this total $1 players is set right. If you've got a larger bench, if you've got, say, like 5 actives and 7 bench guys, in general, those bench guys aren't going to play, so you're not spending money on them. So you want that $1 player number to be bumped right up, so that the prices for those top-end guys, and then a stars and scrubs strategy works a lot better, is accurately reflected in the projections. So that's the basics about setting up your league on Basketball Monster, all the different things that we can do. We adjust how many teams, how many players per team, active roster spots, auctions, roto, head-to-head, budgets, adjusting these values, whatever categories, whatever points you want to do, and all that gets transferred over onto the projection. So if you go to members page, you'll see projections, projected standings, draft tracker, the most important tool for draft day, standings monster, trade monster, the smart tool, which helps recommend pickups and drops based on your matchup or based on current roto standings as well. In the tools menu, you've got your team analysis, your trade analysis. Trade monster is a lot stronger than trade analysis. Your box scores for every day, your depth charts, ease rankings, hot players, player rankings, which is for games that have already played, not for projection forward. That's where you go into the members and find projection. And then other settings too, your user settings. Team players is an interesting one. This is where you can come in here, find your league, Fantrax import, put your league ID in there again. Now, every day these will automatically update, but if you want to make an update manually, you just come in here, click the import teams button, and it will go through and work. Now, sometimes on Fantrax, commissioners will make their leagues private, and that means we can't access them, but there is a way to do it here with this manual import, and all the instructions are there for you. It tells you what page to go to, copy and paste and put it in, and then it will chuck all those players onto teams, and then over there you have to put in what your team is over there. And all the leagues there, all the teams, I haven't drafted so they're not here, but all of the different teams will come down. You select your team, and then you click the Make My Team button, so it knows which of those teams is actually yours versus who's in the other league. So a whole bunch of settings on here. And I'm not going to go in and show you the projections, of course. You have to be a member to see the projections, but this is what we can do for you. This is what we offer for you, and this is how you set things up over on Basketball Monster to get the best success out of it. If you have any questions, you can drop them below in the comments here. Or if you are a member, put it in the forums, tweet it at me, drop it in the Discord as well. Lots of different ways to get in touch with me. Unfortunately, I can't answer everyone's questions all the time because I just get smashed with them, but I thought this would be a good idea to show you the different settings. That is the number one thing. When you get Basketball Monster, when you sign up, go to league settings, make sure it's right, and then you can do all of your other stuff after that. I hope that was useful for you guys. Good luck with your drafts, and good luck with the NBA season. I'll see you later. Bye.